to the ring, the bell's about to chime. Turnbuckle talk, we're here to shine. Flagship on the airwaves, leading the pack. Breaking news, reviews, we've got your back. From the squared circle to the backstage news, we bring stories that you can't refuse. Turnbuckle talk, the voice of the fight. Every slam, every suplex, every highlight. Tune in weekly, don't miss a beat. For the latest in wrestling, we bring the heat. From AEW to WWE, we cover it all from A to Z. Interviews, insights, and match reviews. If it's wrestling news, we've got the clues. From the squared circle to the backstage news, we bring the stories that you can't refuse. Turnbuckle talk, the voice of the fight. Every slam, every suplex, every highlight. Tune in weekly, don't miss a beat. For the latest in wrestling, we bring the heat.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Turnbuckle Talk. I'm your host, Chris Best. I've got OMD with me. Coming out of WrestleMania 42, WWE didn't just move forward with the usual fallout. Instead, Monday Night Raw took a sharp turn that nobody really saw coming. We're talking surprise NXT call-ups, sudden main roster shakeups, and teases that could seriously reshape the entire landscape of WWE moving forward. This feels like a post-Mania cooldown and more like the start of a new era. OMD, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right today, my friend. Thank you for asking. Another quiet day at work, but you know, hey, now we're here to talk some wrestling, and I mean, big things on the horizon here.
Yeah, and we're going to start off with a bit of a downer here as hours before we were getting ready to go live for WrestleMania Sunday, we all here at Turnbuckle Affiliation Program in the wrestling world received the unfortunate news that WCW wrestling star Van Hammer, real name Mark Hildreth, sadly passed away at the age of 66. And this was according to an announcement that was shared by Mark Merrow. Merrow revealed the news publicly and noted that the cause of death has not yet been confirmed, but an autopsy is pending. He reflected on their friendship. There was a lot of outpouring support for Van Hammer and his family. I saw DDP make a post, Mark Merrow. A lot of the younger guys even made some posts about him. Of course, my biggest memory of Van Hammer himself was his days in the Flock, where he was a member of Raven's Flock, and he wasn't like a big star there, but he was a good hand to have on your card when you needed something.
Van Hammer was a guy I was actually a huge fan of in WCW. He was big, he could work. He always delivered a solid match, and it didn't matter who it was against.
Yeah.
The one key thing, and I always remember this, was when Raven turned on him and said to him, Saturn is my enforcer, always has been, always will be.
Yeah.
And I mean, after WCW was bought out, he largely fell away from the scene. We haven't heard anything from him in about 25 years until this tragic news from Sunday.
Yeah, he was leading more of a quiet life. He still kept in contact, as mentioned, that he was still in contact with guys like Mark Merrow. I mean, he worked there when Mark Merrow was there as Johnny B. Bad.
Yep.
He was working under the name Heavy Metal Van Hammer at that time. He also formed deep bonds with DDP. DDP talks about just how often they traveled on the road because him, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and Van Hammer, they were all training together in WCW. They were coming out together through the training processes over at WCW.
Right.
But yeah, my takeaway from Van Hammer, like I said, he wasn't like a main event star. He wasn't a top mid-carder. He was a good, solid hand to have on the WCW card. He always put out some good, solid matches. But all I can say right now is rest in peace, Van Hammer. Godspeed.
Yeah. Thank you.
Now I'm going to move on to some news that excites me quite a bit. Chicago, you're getting a TNA pay-per-view. Chicago, you're getting a returning TNA pay-per-view. Lockdown is coming back.
Yes.
I could not be more happier about this. It will be held Sunday, August 23rd. I almost said 31st, but Chicago, Illinois. Pre-sale tickets will be available this Wednesday, tomorrow morning, guys. Get on your computers, go to ticketmaster.com, get your tickets because Lockdown always delivers for me.
Lockdown returning after 10 years is absolutely huge. Always one of my favorite TNA pay-per-views. And this is the one pay-per-view event that I would love to see them bring back the six-sided ring for and go to 6 sides of steel.
Yeah.
But
What
Chicago, you just had the Elimination Chamber. Now you're getting Lockdown. What is it about Chicago and encasing people?
I mean, SummerSlam 94 had Bret Hart and Owen Hart inside the cage.
Yep.
But what are some of your biggest memories from the Lockdown? And maybe not just Lockdown, but 6 Sides of Steel as a whole.
You can't talk about that without talking about primetime Elix Skipper.
In the death-defying Hurricane Rana or Head Scissor Takeover, I think it was, who was it, James Storm he gave it to?
Yes.
Yeah. I was thinking it was a James Storm or Chris Harris. I couldn't remember which one. I knew it was one of AMW, so.
Yes.
And that was at Turning Point in 2004, I think. Or 2005. So. But yeah, that was that was quite the moment. Another Lockdown moment that I think about is the MMA match between Jeff Jarrett and Kurt Angle as well.
Yep.
But I mean, if you're going to do Lockdown, you might as well do their War Games. And I can't remember the name of their War Games right offhand. I was hoping it would come to me when I finished that sentence.
Lethal Lockdown.
There we go. You got to do Lethal Lockdown at this show. There's no question about that.
No, absolutely you do.
And you know what? I'm looking at it as it's in Chicago. TNA's got a partnership with the WWE. It may be a long shot, but why not put CM Punk on this show? You don't have to have him wrestle.
No.
Have him appear and talk about his time in TNA. I know he was in TNA for a handful of months maybe, but I'm sure he's got fond memories of there. And I mean, we were just talking about Raven. He was a part of Raven's stable during that time.
Yes, and once again, Raven is active in TNA, not as a competitor, but he is active. I would bring CM Punk in. Yes, you can have him reflect on all of that stuff, but maybe if you do it at Lockdown, maybe you go and you have CM Punk announce AJ Styles as a TNA Hall of Famer for Bound for Glory.
I would be okay with that. Another person I would like to see in this match, because I've seen him in 6 Sides of Steel already, and or no, sorry, I haven't seen him in 6 Sides of Steel, but I've seen how he is in cages, and I'm hoping that he does re-sign with TNA. Mike Santana. I really would like to see him do this.
Yep.
I'm very curious though about like the types of the wrestlers they are going to bring in for this. Are we going to see some WWE crossover? Are we going to see as part of the WWE alliance, do we see somebody from AAA come in and do something on the show?
Well, you know what? I'm going to say this. I think if you're going to do Lethal Lockdown, you do Team NXT versus Team TNA.
Yeah, I like that. And you can do that 2 ways. If you're going to do a women's one, it's got to be Team WWE, Team NXT versus Team TNA in that one as well. Because
Yes,
I would do a women's lethal lockdown with a men's lethal lockdown on this same show.
absolutely. I think the other thing that I would really, really like to see is maybe you get somebody who had a great deal of success in Six Sides of Steel and in a lethal lockdown. But maybe you bring back some of those legends. Bring back an Abyss for the night. Bring back AJ Styles. Bring back Kurt Angle. Let a Scott Steiner and a Bully Ray show up. You know, have it, 10 years in the past. After 10 years, bring back some of those legends that have been there and been in that.
The one I just remembered, one of my favorite spots. It was a lethal lockdown match. It wasn't at lockdown. I can't remember which pay-per-view it was, but I remember AJ Styles was about to enter into the cage, and instead of going through the door, so for anybody who remembers the old lethal lockdown on the Six Sides of Steel, there was always a little crevice where there was an opening to the cage on the roof. And I remember AJ Styles climbing to the top of the cage and diving through there and just connecting with everyone in that cage.
I think you might be thinking of what they had as the Terror Dome, which was their version of the Elimination Chamber.
No, it was lethal lockdown. I've never seen that match that you're referencing. So
you've never seen a Terror Dome match?
No, and I choose not to because I know that was during a terrible time in TNA, in my personal opinion.
Those were not bad matches. But it actually had a circular opening at the top, and it was, other than that, it was designed like the Elimination Chamber. You had your pods. And I quite enjoyed them.
Yeah.
I know it only lasted a couple of years, but
it just, from the clips that I've seen when it comes to that match, it looked terrible on production because of bright red wide bars where you just really couldn't see the action on camera. But lethal lockdown, just because I'm a fan of war games,
right,
that's why I want lethal lockdown to come back at lockdown.
But what I have to wonder, because I've seen TNA do this fairly recently, is they're getting away from the mesh cage. They went back, the last time I saw a TNA cage match, they had gone to the black bars. So I have to wonder, is that what we're going to get?
That's a good question. I'd have to look to see when the last TNA cage match was because I don't remember that right offhand. But I'm intrigued, and if I can find a way, I want to watch this show. If I have some money by that time to pay for some TNA Plus, I will do it.
Yep.
I would pay for 1 month just to watch Lockdown. Lockdown.
Yep.
But yeah, I fully expect that it would be an all hands on deck type situation because they are bringing back a classic pay-per-view. Just the one thing I don't want them to do is don't do the dumb lockdown matches like that blindfold lockdown match.
Right.
That was Chris Harrison, James Storm, if I'm again.
Yep. We also saw that with Bobby Roode and James Storm after Beer Money had split.
Yep. It was just, it was a mess to say the least. But yeah, I'm all for this. I am totally stoked that we're going to see Lockdown make its comeback here. And yeah, cannot wait. But let's go ahead. You look like you had something to say.
This. If they don't go to the Six Sides of Steel and stick to the square ring,
I'd still be okay with it.
Would you go to the double ring for Lethal Lockdown?
See, that's the thing. I got to look up information on this arena to see if it can sustain that, because that was the primary concern with war games in the WWE. They didn't know if they had stadiums that could sustain, um,
Right.
or that was the initial thought, was they didn't have arenas that could sustain a two ring cage match, which in retrospect is a kind of stupid. Unless they wait, is TNA's ring? TNA's ring is smaller than WWE's ring, right?
Tiny bit.
Hmm. Yeah, because I know for war games, WWE shrinks their rings for that.
Yeah.
So we'll
I
have to,
believe TNA uses the 15 by 15
yeah,
ring.
we'll have to take a look. I want to take a look at the arena first, and I'll get back to you on that one. Um, but let's stay with TNA, but let's jump all the way across the world at the same time, because this one intrigued me big time here, and I'm going to take a moment to pull up the article while we go for a quick commercial break.
The Turnbuckle Studios store is open for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the merch and represent the best from the shows you watch on a weekly basis. Multiple styles to choose from with over 10 products available. Don't get left out and pick up all your favorites today. Find us at turnbucklestudios.org.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Turnbucklestudios.org is your home for the Turnbuckle affiliation program. Hit that shop button, head on over to our store powered by redbubble.com. Support your favorite shows and your favorite podcasters. Wear what we wear. All of the proceeds come back into our studios to deliver you a better experience. All of this and more, turnbucklestudios.org.
Yeah, and as I said before, the commercial for our little teaser, we're staying with TNA, but we're going all the way around across the world here. We're going to the country of Qatar, as TNA and Qatar Pro Wrestling have announced officially announced that we are getting Super Slam 4. This is interesting to me because as they're calling it now, it's Q Pro Wrestling, not Qatar Pro Wrestling. They're doing an annual Super Slam. They do an annual Super Slam event, which is kind of like this company's version of WrestleMania. It's coming in May, and it will be a co-branded show to be held in Doha, Qatar. And this is interesting. I'm very much intrigued about this. The event will be taking place Saturday, October 24th. It was originally announced to be in May, but because of certain tensions that are going on in the world, my bad. Yeah, top TNA star and current TNA International Champion Mustafa Ali will be there, as he is also the current QPW World Champion. I'm very intrigued about this, and I want to kind of go online and dig around for a little bit more of this promotion. As we mentioned, Mustafa Ali is the current heavyweight champion there. TNA's wrestling is supposed to be there. I wonder if this is going to be co-promoted, if this is going to be, well, this is going to be co-promoted, but if it's going to be co-shown, like if you're going to watch, if you can find a way to watch it online, like through the
Right.
TNA Plus, or if it's going to be on YouTube or something like that at a later date for QPW.
Yeah, I don't know. I know QPW has a fairly strong track record, and they have had numerous major names to us here in North America compete. Johnny TV, as he is now known, is their inaugural heavyweight champion. I
Yep.
believe they've had now known as the Legion of Pain, the former AOP. I am very, very intrigued by this. But again, we don't hear enough about QPW. I know that they are big. And again, I am a little bit concerned because of those certain tensions, but I know it's also potentially setting a benchmark for WrestleMania next year. So I am very, very intrigued to see this. Who is going to go over besides Mustafa Ali? Will he defend both belts at the event? Will he defend both belts in one match? Will he just defend one? Do we get something really, really shocking? Do we get a major moment there?
I'm very intrigued here as I'm going through some of the people that have been a part of QPW. Eric Bischoff was there as well. Kevin Nash, Cody Rhodes, our current WWE champion, has spent time there. Enzo Amore, I see Mark Henry is listed as having been there. Sting was there as well. This, and of course, I mean, because he's from that part of the world, the Great Khali was there as well.
Yes.
This is a big partnership here, and I hope that this partnership does not get ruined because of those tensions.
Right. And I know like TNA has gone over because there was another company a couple of years ago that was unable. Oh, New Japan was unable to participate in the Oceania Cup in Australia, and TNA went over. And it does say here at the bottom of the article, the event will air on TNA Plus and Triller.
Okay, so there you go, guys. If you want to watch this, TNA Plus, or, well, I'm not going to say Triller because we don't know what's going on with that at this point.
Right.
But yeah, this is going to be the interesting thing, is which TNA talent are we going to see there. Right off the top of my head, and again, this is depending on his contractual status. If you want some big names from TNA, you gotta send Mike Santana over. You gotta put Frankie Kazarian over there, Eric Young, all the guys that like the people in Qatar might remember.
I you know what? I'm going to put a name out there, and I don't know. I'm not doing this to stir up controversy, but you know what? A Steve Macklin going over. And I'm bringing it up. Yes, he is a former U.S. Marine. We know that Qatar is not physically involved, I guess, in those tensions over there. But does that add that sort of that mystique? How would a Steve Macklin, as a former U.S. Marine, get reacted to over there?
I think if they're going to look past what he's done personally and look at him as a wrestler, and he may get cheered, he may get booed. This is all depending on whether he's going to be a babyface or heel around then.
Right.
I'm more than intrigued. I'm going to keep my eye out on this situation. I'm going to actually try and dig in on this Qatar Pro Wrestling and learn about some of the wrestlers that are there as well. This is what I do, guys. When I hear of a new wrestling or not a new wrestling promotion, but when I hear of a promotion I'm not familiar with, I will dig in deep and I will try to find ways to watch it and try to learn who the wrestlers are. Just as I wish I should have done for a company that is closing its doors, not forever though. And OMD, you were the one who brought up information on this one. We're talking about Josh Barnett and Bloodsport coming to an end temporarily.
Yes, they are going on a temporary but indefinite hiatus. And Josh Barnett said, we're proud of everything we've done, but we've got to go out on top, really. Very, very intriguing. He said, his quote, "We've done some amazing things for now, but for now, this door is closing. I'm shutting shop. I'm calling it a day while we still have our pride and our integrity, while you still love what we do and everything we've done." So I think this is to avoid burnout.
Yeah. Burnout. Bloodsport has been sort of gaining in popularity over the last little while, and it's become one of the more hotter events to go and check out on well, I would say WrestleMania weekend, but on wrestling weekends, because usually Bloodsport will go to whatever city WWE is in or something along those lines and try to just host another event. They did it during SummerSlam, they do it during WrestleMania, they did it during Survivor Series last year. And I understand where Josh Barnett is coming from, because he did say he's putting it on hiatus indefinitely, and that's the key word, hiatus and indefinitely, because indefinitely doesn't mean forever. It means it may come back, but it all depends on how he himself as the promoter is feeling with it.
Right. And I mean, you look again at some of the names, and WWE allowed some of their talent to go there. That's where we got the first look at Natty.
Hmm.
We saw Karrion Kross go while he was under contract and fight for the first time in a long time as Killer Kross.
Yeah.
We've seen Charlie Dempsey go. We saw Shayna Baszler. I have to wonder, is this something else? Is this maybe TKO and WWE saying, we'd like to help promote you, we'd like to help build you? And maybe do you create the underground brand?
See, I don't know, because GCW is also helps with the promotion of Bloodsport. Um, I think it's just Barnett trying to just taking a step back and just needing that breather, because he's been going hard at it since he left the UFC a number of years ago. He also, because not only did he open up Bloodsport, he also tried to open up alongside Affliction an MMA promotion there that didn't get off the ground. He's been working extremely hard for the better part of, I would say, 15 years
Yeah.
at running his promotions, that the various things he's done.
Yeah.
So he's at that stage in his life. The dude is he's up there in the age a little bit. He's at that stage in life where he can take a step back and just relax.
We also know that he is an active competitor in this, and I know it takes a lot for him to be able to book these shows and get this talent.
Yeah.
Would it maybe be time for him to take a step back from either the active competition, or maybe expand his team around him to help bring in some of this, help bring in some more talent so that he can take a little bit off of his plate and do whatever it is he does? I'm not sure if he is a family man. I'm trusting that he is,
Mhm.
but maybe put in a management team. You don't need creative for Bloodsport.
Yeah. See, I kind of look at him. I think he looks at it the way I look at Turnbuckle affiliation program. That's our baby. That's Carl's baby. We help him along with that. And if he needs to take a step back and scale things down with it, maybe he's looking to eventually just kind of repackage the thing, take a step back and just repackage
Yeah.
Bloodsport a little bit, or because that's another thing too, is that when bands go on hiatus, right? We're all like, oh wait, they broke up. Maybe Barnett's got something else that he wants to go and do. And that's
Right.
why we see like musical bands again taking that hiatus. Usually it's
Yep.
because maybe the lead singer wants to go put out a solo album. Maybe the lead guitarist has another band that he's trying to
Yep.
get going. So it could be that Barnett has another business venture that he wants to uh dive into.
Yeah.
And all the power to you, Barnett, if you want to do that. Because again, like I said with musical bands, right? They go on hiatus,
Yep.
doesn't, and a lot of people think going on hiatus means you split up. That just means you're taking a break from from doing that stuff and then coming back 5 6 years later.
Yep.
That's where I think, because I do think we're going to see more blood sport somewhere down the line. It's just Barnett wants to take a break and put it just put it away for now.
Yeah.
But I think we need to move on to something that is it's stiffened our craw a time or two. And yeah. So over the weekend we had WrestleMania, WrestleCon, all kinds of different events that happened uh around the WrestleMania weekend. We also had some very unfortunate incidents. And you can tell my voice is getting stern and I haven't even mentioned the story.
Right?
Um let's start off with the biggest one. Elena Black. Okay, she was at WrestleCon and she was signing autographs, doing her usual like what a wrestler does when they go to WrestleCon, make an appearance, meet with the fans, what have you, shaking hands and all that. And then a fan ruined the moment for Elena Black herself, I think,
Yeah.
by inappropriately touching her.
Yes.
That's not cool.
No.
We've talked about meeting fit wrestlers at organized events like WrestleCon, and props to the security at WrestleCon for getting the guy kicked out of there right away because there would have been fists flying at this guy's face had other wrestlers found out.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, Elena Black was touched inappropriately. She went on to social. She blasted the guy. I'm not going to blast the guy because that guy does not deserve the light of day in
No.
my eyes. But to get involved, get in and do that, you're dude. There have a modicum of respect when you go to these events.
Right?
Don't touch the girls in any places they don't want to be touched. If they want to hug, if you want to hug them, ask first. Some of them may not. I mean,
Right?
but just be respectful. Simple as that.
I mean, I know that Elena Black has an OnlyFans account.
Hmm. That still
And
doesn't mean that you should go up and, you know.
hold on. I'm not even going to try and condone it because of that. What I'm going to say is I'm wondering if this is a guy that, you know, shells out thousands of dollars to her account and then maybe felt to himself that it was okay, which it is not. You go
Yeah.
up, you shake hands, or you fist bump. You ask for your autograph, you ask for your photo, you
Mhm.
take it with respect. You know, you and I have had the privilege of meeting numerous wrestlers over the years. We've gotten to shake hands, we've gotten to get those autographs, get those photos, all of that stuff.
I've gotten to have a smoke with some of these wrestlers now,
Right?
with the job we have here at Turnbuckle Affiliation Program.
Right?
Even then though, it's still being respectful.
Yeah.
The one of the few women wrestlers I've met, Zandra Lee, all I did was shake her hand,
Yeah.
talk to her a little bit, just so I can get a feel for her character because I told her I was going to be on commentary and I just wanted to know a little bit about her so that I can put her over on the show.
Yeah.
That's all it should be. Get that autograph, have a polite conversation, ask a couple questions, say, put them over a little bit, like saying, hey, you should have won the championship at whatever company, or I can't wait to see you win the title, and
Yeah.
move on. Simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely. You were talking about a woman here as well in Elena Black who had to take 8 months off last year because of burnout and her mental health
Hmm.
as it came to this industry. And now we get this. Like, people, wrestlers are people too. They are there for our entertainment, not for us to be in their faces.
Yeah, and that's where we go with the next fan story. And that so the story is TMZ caught this, and so there was a moment where CM Punk, AJ Lee, and Bailey had all just arrived at the hotel after WrestleMania on Sunday. And there was a private moment between Bailey and AJ where they were just hugging and just kind of like thanking each other and just saying, hey, we put on a good show, blah, 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 that sort of thing. I believe it was Sunday. Yeah, it was. I
Yeah.
think it was a Sunday night, but there was a fan that was following them as well, and
Yeah.
you could see because the footage has been put out from TMZ's point of view. The footage has been put out from the fans' camera as well. Bailey did not want to be recorded. Neither did
No.
AJ Lee. And you see Bailey shove that camera out of the face, like, and she says, "Get out of here" to that guy.
Yeah.
Punk then walks up, slaps the phone out of the guy's hand.
Yeah.
And I didn't quite hear the exchanging of words, but I heard a lot of sorry from the fan.
Yeah.
This fan is now demanding an apology from Punk. Punk, you're not going to get that apology
No.
because of what you had done. You invaded these two in their most private moment at a hotel. And again, this is don't go to the wrestler's hotel. Don't go to the airport. Go to these organized events where you can meet these wrestlers. WWE The World, I know, had Bailey and AJ Lee on tap to do a meet and greet.
I read a quote probably a half an hour before we came on here from Drew McIntyre. And he said, you know what? We don't mind so much if you meet us and you see us at the hotel and you want to say hello, ask for an autograph, ask for a photo. We
Yes.
really don't mind. For the fans that are out there shoving their kids in our faces at 2 a.m., be thankful I am a calm, rational person outside of the ring. Because they got into his face. They got into his with his family. And you don't do that. Like, this is something that we talk about probably once a month.
Yeah.
And it's a topic we really shouldn't have to keep bringing up on this show. Ladies and gentlemen, wrestlers are people too.
Mhm.
They have feelings. They have families. They are there in the ring for our entertainment. They do the autograph and photo sessions. Yes, it's in their contract, but they get paid for it.
Mhm.
Are you going to get them on a great day all the time? No. Are you going to get that odd bad day and you're going to think, well, that guy is the biggest PR in the world? Sure. But you know what? If you have the chance a second time, you're probably going to go and meet them and you could go and get a completely different version of that person you met.
Yep.
And I will say this because I had that unfortunate experience with one Kenny Dykstra a number of years ago. And I'm hoping that he was just in kayfabe, but he was not somebody that I enjoyed meeting. Sitting right beside him were The Miz, John Morrison, and Carlito. Three of the absolute coolest guys I could ever meet.
Yeah. And see, I on the other hand, I didn't have I didn't have any negative experiences with the wrestlers I've met. My one of the more positive ones I had was I talked about having a smoke with the wrestlers. I had a smoke with Too Cold Scorpio outside of a show, and the conversation wasn't about him. It was just about the city because
Right.
he talked about like coming to the city in his earlier careers and just working the indies up and around this whole area. Like he talked about working Detroit, working uh
Yeah.
various cities in Michigan and swinging his way up through here just to check things out. And I even told him locations of some certain flower shops.
Right.
But that's the type of interaction that you want to that these wrestlers want. They don't want you to be there at the airport at 3 o'clock in the morning wanting you to sign 50 different things.
No.
Rey Mysterio called out fans on that one. He called out a couple of people who are like, I know you guys aren't wrestling fans. I'm not signing your stuff. One guy said to Ray, I am a fan of you. I've been watching you since AAA. And he mentioned specific matches from AAA. And Ray turned to him and he's like, okay, I know you're a fan. I'm only going to sign one of your things.
Yeah.
Because these were people who were out there just to make money off of Ray's autographs. And Ray called them out on that. Ray said, I know you're here to sign so you can sell. I'm not going to do that because that's not cool.
So, not a wrestler interaction that I had, but this was one that I had a number of years ago. It was 1999, and I was living in Toronto. And my guys and I, we had gone out. We were having lunch at one of the clubs downtown, actually.
Mhm.
And this guy walked in, had his hair pulled back, the shirt unbuttoned. Everybody that was in there flocked to him. And we're just like, whatever, like, I'm not going to harass this guy. So 5 minutes later, he comes over. He goes, "You guys weren't part of the mob." I said, "You're here to have lunch, maybe a beer, whatever." And he said, "Can I sit with you guys? Because I appreciate that." And he
Mhm.
bought a pitcher and then introduces himself and says, "Hi, I'm Saul Hodson." I
Trying
got
to
to
recall
sit
who
and
that
have,
is.
I had a beer and lunch with Slash.
Oh, yes. Okay, and that's the thing too is from what I've seen of Slash, he likes the attention sometimes, but again, this is the dude just wanted to sit down and have a burger with and a beer, perhaps, you know.
Yeah.
And we've seen that again. This isn't just wrestlers, and this is one of the few things that I will give credit to Kanye West on because Papa there you might have seen this story, but Kanye West, there was a news story that circulated that Kanye West got into it with a paparazzi because he went to like a McDonald's or something with his kids, and paparazzi was just hounding him, and all he wanted to do is eat his fries and Big Mac with his kids.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Do not bother these wrestlers when they're in their private moments, when they're going to the hotel, because when they want to go to that hotel, all they want to do is go to bed and focus on the next
Yeah.
show. Simple as that. Go to these organized events that companies are putting on. Like if a Monday Night Raw is coming to your town and your local Best Buy is going to have a couple of wrestlers make an appearance, go to
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Simple as that. You'll have the better experience than meeting these wrestlers when they're dead tired.
Yeah.
Bar none. I think
100%.
I gotta say we should be all done and dusted on this story and
I
move
think
on
so.
to our commercial break here.
Yes.
A Turnbuckle affiliation program is looking for more people. If you have passion level for pro wrestling, sports, videos games, or something else, then Turnbuckle Studios is the place to be. If you have ever wanted to pursue content creation and want to join our team, then we would love to have you. Check out turnbucklestudios.org or contact us by email today because your future is now, and we want you to tap in.
And ladies and gentlemen, once again, turnbucklestudios.org is your home for the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. And if you have ever wanted your break in podcasting, content creation, a potential collaboration, or just to help us out behind the scenes, then hit that join button. Email us, tell us how you can help us, how you believe we can help you, and we will sit down as a collective and figure it out. All of that and so much more, turnbucklestudios.org.
Yeah, now we're going to go into our showstopper segment, and this is going to be a fun one. So we're going from being angry to having fun. The NXT, we got some call-ups yesterday on Monday Night Raw. We've got 3 of them. Of course, we're looking at Ethan Page, Sol Ruca, and Joe Hendry. Ethan Page, we all know he is going into the Intercontinental title picture. Sol Ruca has already interjected herself into the women's title picture. Joe Hendry, he's doing a concert next week. There's a lot to unwrap with just these 3 here. And let's talk about where they could be going and what kind of surprises we could see out of these 3.
I'm going to be honest with you. Like when Sol Ruca made her debut last night on Raw, I wasn't sure who it was. I saw the green video, and it wasn't until it said Sol Ruca I was like, oh. But that match that she had last night, with Liv, and we'd seen her deliver against Bayley back in December at Saturday night's main event. I wonder, do you put her as the next potential challenger? Does she get in Becky Lynch's face next Monday?
And that's the other thing too. Becky Lynch is supposed to be on the show. And this is what I was talking to Chris Parrish about this off stream last night. With Becky Lynch being on the show and we don't know who her next contender is, I called for more surprises next Monday night.
Right. And I mean, let's not forget that we also got the return of the Street Profits last night.
Yes.
We also got
go ahead.
We also got Jacob Fatu. I mean, it can't just be about the call-ups. This has to be about, like, this was a full-on shakeup over the last 3 days that we have seen.
Mm-hmm.
And we still have Friday to go. We still have tonight, actually, in NXT, but I'll watch that after the program.
Yeah, and as I was trying to say, with Becky Lynch there, like, we don't know where she's going with the Intercontinental title. Joe Hendry, whenever he does concerts, it usually ends with somebody interfering. So again, more surprises to come next Monday. Ethan Page being put in that Intercontinental title picture alongside Rusev made me have some questions. Is there an alliance between Ethan Page and Rusev? Maybe, maybe not. Is there going to be some animosity between not just Ethan Page and Penta, but Ethan Page and I think Dragon Lee was out there for that as well? There's a lot of things that are cooking in this pot here, because not only that, but when we saw the Judgment Day come out, just before that, we had a shot of Paige and Brie Bella alongside Nikki sitting at ringside. So that to me says that there's a subtlety for even them as far as the women's tag team title picture goes. And then we still have SmackDown to come. We still have some call-ups that are more than likely going to take place there.
Right. I know we had presumed that Joe was going to SmackDown.
Yeah, and I get it why he's coming to Raw, because he stays on NXT or he stays on Netflix.
Right.
He's become quite a draw for Netflix viewers. So putting him on Raw, not a bad move.
But keep in mind that in the US, NXT airs on the CW, not on Netflix.
It also airs on, but yeah, I mean, not a bad move still, because on a national level, yeah, he's a draw there.
What I'm going to ask is, does Joe Hendry show up wearing his traditional blue shirt and white pants next week, or does he go red for Raw?
No, it's going to be blue. He's been rocking the blue his entire career, so why change up something that's successful right now? I'm very curious though about that concert and who steps in to interfere, because as I said, every time he does a concert, it doesn't end successfully. It usually ends with somebody coming out.
Right. And this is again where I wonder would that be a good fit for a Rusev? Do you go to maybe having Miz and Kit Wilson show up over from SmackDown for a night?
Yeah, and see, that's the thing that when I said when we all thought that Hendry was going to go to SmackDown, I said that the Miz would be his best first feud to have on SmackDown. And then again, Sol Ruca, like, I do like your idea of her showing up and taking out Becky, but I've got to wonder if there's something else there as well. And that's the beauty of these, I would say, next 2 weeks, because I get a feeling more surprises are coming for Raw next Monday.
Right. I'm just trying to figure out who could we see potentially this Friday on SmackDown.
Yeah, and maybe that's where, like, my unexpected call-ups that I mentioned happen, where we maybe see like Thea Hale show up, or even Hank and Tank show up, or
Right.
What if Ricky Saints gets drafted over to SmackDown?
Yeah. I would love that.
We got Bobby Stats coming in saying hello, everyone. He just liked the video on YouTube. Bobby Stats, glad to have you here. We are talking about the call-ups from last night and possible call-ups for SmackDown on top of surprises that could happen next week. Because just before you came in, I was stating Joe Hendry concerts always get interfered by somebody.
Yeah.
I'm very curious who steps in. I'm so intrigued with all three of these. Do you see any one of these three winning a championship before the year is out on the main roster?
Yes. I see all three of them winning a championship before the year is out.
I think I'm going to be completely honest here. I think Ethan Page is going to be your next Intercontinental Champion.
I do too. I'm going to go a little bit wild here. And I am going to take Sol Ruca, depending on what she does, but I'm taking Sol Ruca to defeat Julia for the U.S. Championship on SmackDown.
That's interesting because Sol Ruca is a Raw superstar.
For now. Again, we just know that it was her Raw debut. We don't know that she had officially signed. Ethan Page made the handshake with Adam Pearce, and that was official. Joe Hendry, I'm going to say, will probably have one of the secondary titles, whether it's the Intercontinental or the U.S. Championship as well by the end of the year.
And Bobby Stats is coming in saying, what if Tatum Paxley gets called up too? I like that idea, Bobby, but I don't see Tatum coming up until after SummerSlam because I think there's a lot more that you can do with her and Blake Monroe down in NXT.
See, and I have a feeling that her and Blake need to be done after. I don't know if the match happened last week. I haven't seen last week's NXT yet. I've still got to see tonight's. I think that after that casket match, they're done.
Yeah, the casket match is tonight.
Okay.
Well, I say that there's more because I think Blake Monroe is going to move to the world title picture. And wait, what title does Tatum Paxley have again?
The North American.
Okay. But you can move Paxley into that situation after she drops that title as well.
You could. I'm also going to suggest maybe we see an Izzy Dame on Friday.
I'm going to go out on a limb because, I mean, with what happened on Stand and Deliver and the way she lost her title, JC Jane and Fatal Influence.
Yep.
The entire stable coming up.
I am going to be honest, though. I think that there's one girl there that is ready, but I also want to see her stay and get to that next level and win the title, and that is Kalani Jordan.
I would be all right with her. And then there's Jada Parker. Jada Parker, I think, is close to being ready as well.
For me, and again, this is just my personal opinion, Jada Parker, for me, is not a needle mover. For me, there's nothing special about her. There's something missing. Just like Hank and Tank, for me, there is something missing.
Yeah, and it's maybe the move to the main roster because maybe that's the boost that maybe they'll need. Because we look at wrestlers who got called up and we felt weren't ready. We look at Alexa Bliss. We look at Liv Morgan. Look where they are now.
Yeah.
Because back in NXT, they were vanilla as can be.
Yep.
Becky Lynch, too. Becky Lynch was so vanilla down there. And then she moves to the main roster and just blows up.
Yeah.
What I'm looking forward to on the main roster as well, and I'm not saying it's happening right away because I know that they've got to finish their business in NXT. But I'm going to say that it's going to be something you can revisit between these two women, but Zarya getting her call up.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this. Like I said, next Monday, I think there's going to be a tremendous amount more surprises because as we have noticed on last night's Raw, this is a reset. This is a passing of the torch week. We're going to be taking a look at we're going to be focusing on these new stars that are coming up and stay tuned.
Yes.
Now, I do none of our call-ups right now are going to be world champions by the end of the year. Unless Sol Ruca just wows everybody and just gets that push, because I don't see Joe Hendry and Ethan Page being in that scene yet. I can see them being contenders, like say the Money in the Bank rolls around. I can see the both of them
Yeah,
entering the Money in the Bank and putting on a heck of a show, but not winning it.
I could see, and I know we got Ethan Page is officially on Raw.
Yeah.
If he would have gone to SmackDown, I would have absolutely said I could see Ethan Page being the undisputed champion by the end of the year.
And that's why I think they put him on Raw, because I think they're going to keep him separate from Cody. Because that is something that you can go on. That is that I was going to say teacher student rivalry, but more best friend rivalry kind of situation.
Yep.
Um, I wanted to say maybe by next year's WrestleMania, but there's a certain rumor flying around about Cody's WrestleMania next year, and just all you got to do is watch last night's Cody Rhodes segment to see where I'm getting at, because that's the rumors that next year's WrestleMania is going to be Cody Rhodes and Punk.
Okay, and see, I'm leaning that we're going to Cody and Punk at SummerSlam.
But anyways, back to the call-ups here. I'm just tremendously excited about this. I will be the first to admit, okay, I am a huge fan of Joe Hendry.
Yep.
However, I was worried about his call-up. Now I'm intrigued, though.
I was never worried with Joe Hendry's call-up, because I didn't think he was going to be in NXT long. I know, like I said earlier, we all presumed he was going to SmackDown. I think he fits that mold a little bit better than Raw. So it's just going to be interesting to see what comes of next Monday.
Yeah, and that's the big question, and it's simple. What direction is WWE heading in after all of this? Is this the beginning of a full roster refresh, a new creative era, or just the first wave of surprises after WrestleMania 42? Either way, things are definitely not slowing down. Now, we here at the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program want to hear from you. Which shocked you the most? Ethan Page, Sol Ruca, or the ongoing Joe Hendry buzz? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. OMD. Where as we I would like for you to tell everybody where you can find our programming after this commercial.
Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program bring you the week of streams. All times are in Eastern Time. Monday night we are on call as the Raw Patrol is on duty at 8 p.m. Tuesday brings you the flagship show Turnbuckle Talk at 8:05 p.m. Wednesday we play games with the PlayStation Showcase at 8 p.m. Thursdays we roam the jungle with the Boar's Nest at 9 p.m. Friday we invite you to come for a ride with the SmackDown security detail at 8 p.m. The weekend brings you Saturday Night Gaming at 8 p.m. On Sunday, be sure to catch the Chris Parrish podcast at 12:15 p.m. And later in the day, the Locker Room presents Wrestling Recap delivers at 7 p.m. Always be aware that weekend shows can vary in times, as the PLE Patrol and other watch party streams are always a must-see. Be part of the shows and join the chat every day, and watch all of the latest episodes on turnbucklestudios.org/shows. And please do not forget to drop a like, follow, and to subscribe to all of our channels, and when the time is right, all you have to do is tap in.
And ladies and gentlemen, there you have our list of weekly programming available for you at turnbucklestudios.org, your home for the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. Go to the shows section to watch them, and go to the host section to meet the team. Mr. Best, myself, Chris Parrish, Bubba Duke, Logan Thompson, and Carl Carafel. Get all of our socials there, and click on each of our individual links for the socials and to watch all of our latest weekly live episodic programming.
All right, and OMD, what are those words we like to go out on?
Ladies and gentlemen, always remember, the world is better with you in it. From all of us here at Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program, to those of you out there, wherever you are, good night, good luck, we out.
Flagship show setting the tone. In the world of wrestling we stand alone. With news and reviews we lead the way. Turnbuckle talk every day. Turnbuckle talk every day.